Hey everyone, Ronnie Chavez here, and today we're going to be doing 10 advanced parkour and free running vaults, mostly free running because once you start getting into the more technical vaults, it's more about style and flow and things like that, and not so much about practical movement, but there's still a lot to be gained in body control and coordination learning these vaults. Just remember to learn them in a safe environment. Also, the vaults you're going to see in this video aren't the most advanced vaults or the hardest vaults to do. They're simply just the next level in the tier of advanced vaults. Got this nice little handrail here that's perfect for surprisingly quite a few advanced vaults. So let's get started. Alright, so our first advanced vault is actually going to be just adding more spins to a vault we've already learned from my previous videos on 10 easy vaults and 10 intermediate vaults. So that started with the 360 vault, then turned into the 540 vault, and now we're going to be doing the 720 vault, adding that extra spin in there to do a full 720. Now you can do the 720 vault as kind of like a setup like the 360 vault, or with the reverse up, kind of that backwards setup, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. I personally prefer the reverse setup, so that's what I'm going to demonstrate. So I find with this vault that it's actually easier to do it from a little bit of height because you have more time to get the spin around. The lower you can do it means the more technique and precision you have down for doing the spin and the trick. The other problem I personally run into is I tend to overthrow it, so while I'm doing the spin I'm kind of like over flipping my landing and I kind of land falling forward. So that's just something to keep in mind. Make sure you just don't go completely off axis. So the first half of the spin, the first 360, you should be able to stay tucked pretty much because you're controlling it with your hands the whole time. But it's when you release off of your hands that you're going to want to wrap your spin in tight and kind of straighten your body a bit so that you can spin extra fast. And then just depending on how high the drop is will determine how you want to throw it and land it. So once again, you can practice this in grass or somewhere safe first, and then as you get comfortable you can take it to handrails and concrete and things like that. Alright, so this next vault is going to be what I like to call a palm spin flare, or you can call it a palm spin Italian job, but basically it's starting a palm spin and then going straight into an Italian job to come out moving the same direction you initially started. So this move is actually pretty scary to do on a handrail, so I'd really recommend learning this on like a padded area or at least a flat cement surface first. So what you're going to be doing for this one is a palm spin, and then as you rotate all the way around, instead of landing back on this side, you're going to kind of shift your hips out into a sitting position so you can land on the back of your legs and then keep that spinning momentum going so you can then do an Italian job or rail flare out of it. So when doing it, you want to make sure you're leaning back just enough so that when you sit on the rail, you can keep your momentum kind of falling this way and then spin around to land on your feet. You just want to make sure you don't flip back too fast or leaning back too much, because then you might fall faster than you can get your feet under you, and then you'll land flat on your back. So to avoid that, you want to gradually work into it so that you can get comfortable with the balance on where exactly you need to be to land in the correct position to spin over. Once you land in that position and land in the right spot, it's pretty easy after that to make it all the way around. Just make sure that before you try and learn this move, you're very competent with the palm spin and a rail flare. So for this next move, I don't know exactly what to call it, but I think I'll just call it leg catch underbar. Leg catch underbar, or a turn vault leg catch underbar, something like that. This one isn't super advanced compared to some of the other ones, but it is scary to do and to learn because you have momentum swinging into it and you want to make sure you don't hit the ground swinging into it. So basically you're going to just be doing a basic turn vault over the handrail, but you keep one leg on the same side you jumped from, and then from there you're just going to let your weight fall and just hook your leg tight on that bar and hold on to the bar tight so that as you swing under, and you can kind of tuck your head in, pull your chest in, make sure you avoid these kind of bars here so that you don't mess anything up. And then from there you're just going to simply swing out of it and bring your feet underneath you. The more momentum you have, the higher you can pop out of it, but in the beginning just start out slow so you can get comfortable with the motion. So for this next one, we're going to be doing the rail roll. So the rail roll is basically rolling over a bar and popping off of it. It's more than just doing a side flip and touching it with your back. You really want to be able to put your back into it and pop off of it to get power from it like you would with doing a roll over something. Now the trick with doing the rail roll is that you aren't actually rolling on your back. You're finding a spot on your back that's comfortable to hold the bar in place, and that's where you're going to be focusing on and planting and doing most of the move. Now, learning this move, it will be painful no matter what. It won't be cause any serious damage, but it will probably hurt a few times when you're first learning it, because it's a hard metal bar on your body. How I personally like to set up for it is it's not so much on my back as it is more like right underneath my shoulder, near my armpit on my back. That's a nice little pocket that I like to set the bar into, because my arm can kind of lock it in place with my back, so I know I'm not gonna slide off. And then from there I can really get a lot of pop with my legs and my back to kind of push off of it. And to progress into it, you can kind of do like you would a side flip or something and just lightly touch it, and then slowly put more and more of your weight into it until you're able to actually push off of it, so it's not just a side flip, but you're actually using the bar to get push and power. Alright, the last vault we're going to use this specific handrail for is the rail flip, or rail handspring, or Kong front. There's a couple different variations depending on if you're taking off like a Kong and tucking out of it, or simply pushing up into a handstand and flipping over. So with this vault on the rail flip or the front handspring, I'm going to be getting a lot of kick with my back leg to kind of help get my hips up, and then I'm going to bend my arms slightly and then push away again to almost push up into a handstand, but with a lot of momentum, so that I can drive my feet forward and finish the flip landing on my feet. I did another video that's a full in-depth tutorial on this trick, so be sure to go check that out. And then the Kong front, which is kind of similar, but it's going to be a little bit different. Basically the setup for it is like you're going to be front flipping over the rail, but instead of fully going into the front flip, you're kind of, instead of setting your arms here, you're going to be launching with your arms and then going into the tuck from there. So you want to be jumping into it like you're already doing a front flip, and then you're simply just pushing off the handrail, doing a Kong to give you extra power and thrust to go into the flip. I recommend learning a front handspring or front flip on flat ground before trying this move anywhere outside, because it is a flip, so it can be dangerous. You're going over your head, so just make sure that you're aware of what you're capable of with your arm strength, being able to push into a handspring. Alright, we're at a new location to do our next advanced vault, which is going to be the triple Kong vault. In my last video, it was the double Kong vault in the intermediate, and in the beginner, it was just a Kong vault. So now we're doing the triple Kong, which the triple Kong isn't going to be any more efficient than the double Kong. It's going to actually be harder, and it's going to be harder to get the same distance with the triple Kong. So it's more for just the technique, strength, and coordination training, and it looks cool. So anyways, with this move, what you want to do is have your double Kong down really solid, and do it somewhere that you have a comfortable double Kong down. And then what you're going to focus on is doing a double Kong. You're going to launch like you're doing a double Kong, and the second half is going to be like the double Kong. The only difference is that you really got to get a quick tap in there in between. And the tap isn't just to touch your hands on the table. You want to make sure you're still pushing to keep your same position in the air, so that you can still come down on the third Kong just as well. So basically you're going to be launching yourself up, have a lot of momentum with this one, because the second Kong is actually going to slow you down a little bit, but still give you a little bit of push to keep your hips up in the air. And then the third Kong is going to be your reach down, and then pulling and tucking your feet and knees through your chest so that you can land on your feet. Now, working into this, just like the double Kong, you can practice just doing a double and triple hand tap while placing your feet on the table, and then just using your feet whenever necessary so that you can do it safely. And then once you feel like you're there, then it's just a matter of going for it, getting enough speed, and being really fast and powerful with your hands. So for our next vault, we're going to use this picnic table once again, but going across the picnic table the other way. It's going to be a reverse touchdown or reverse to speed vault. It's basically whichever hand you're planting for your reverse vault, you're then going to be rotating, and halfway through this rotation, planting your other hand down to finish it off and push away. Now this one's more advanced because you do have to be aware of where you're going to plant that other hand and be leaning back slightly so that you can get proper push away. Otherwise, if you miss that hand, then it can be bad news. This move, you're going to be doing it like a basic reverse vault. You're going to be kicking your left leg up, And for me, I like to, once I plant my left hand, kick my left leg down and land out of my left leg that way, just like I would doing a simple reverse vault with a little flare kick out. So this next vault is another reverse vault variation, only this time we're turning it into a double leg. So this is the reverse double leg. Basically with this move, you're doing a reverse vault, only you're gonna be jumping with a bit more power so you can get your hips up in the air, and as you go into the reverse, you're just gonna bring both your feet together, straighten them, bend at the hips so you get that L shape, and just torque your legs over as hard as you can. If you know how to double leg, then this will be a lot easier. Otherwise, this move is a little bit tricky to learn, but it's still probably easier than a normal double leg because you have that hand you can plant down. You can actually check out my tutorial on the full double leg if you want to get more in depth with that, but otherwise with this move, it's simply just starting out with your reverse vault and then just slowly trying to get your feet more and more inverted until your legs are completely straight up and down and you're doing a double leg. All right, this next one, all you need to know how to do is a handstand and a Kong vault, and then you combine them. So you're gonna be doing a handstand at the edge of any obstacle, and then you're simply doing a Kong vault or Kong drop down, and I call it the handstand Kong drop. For this move, you want to first practice it on flat ground just so you can get the feel of the motion, and then once you're comfortable with that, then you can start trying it off higher ledges. So basically all you're going to do is a handstand. You're going to arch your back a little bit, hang your heels back a little bit, and then as you push with your hands to get a little jump, you're going to kick with your legs and then tuck your knees in and bring your feet in as tight as you can and try and land in the same spot you were standing with your hands or a little bit forward. Now when you go to do it off of a drop or an object, all you're going to want to do is just start falling forward just slightly, just a little bit, not too much because you don't want to make it hard for your feet to come back down. And then you're going to push once again, push, get that kick, and just bring everything together and just make sure you don't over rotate it. If you're doing it off something higher, then you want to just make sure you get your tuck in and then just make sure you open up so that you can land upright and not be over rotated. All right, our last vault of the day of the 10 advanced parkour vaults is the rail macaco. Now there's two different types of rail macaco. The one where you're planting your hand on the rail and doing a macaco over, whereas the other one, you're actually sitting on the rail and doing a macaco on the ground. But right now we're focusing on the one where you plant your hand on the rail and you ideally like to kick off of something. So I have this handrail right here that I'm going to kick off of. You can also kick off of a wall or things like that. And then from there, you're just going to kind of jump up, make sure you jump your hips up. You're going to kick your opposite leg to help kick you over, and just make sure you're pushing your weight against the rail so you don't collapse in and hit the rail. So the best way to practice this is just to start with a basic vault over and then slowly try and invert yourself more and more until you're going completely upside down. So to do the second macaco variation where you sit on the handrail, you really just want to find a nice spot just above your butt cheek to rock back and hold on with one hand, and you can take it slow to just get that reaching motion. Depending on the height of the rail, you may need to adjust where you are on the rail so that you hit the ground correctly and can flip over. But once you rock back and touch the ground, then it's just a matter of kicking your legs forward and landing on your feet. So there you have it. There are 10 advanced parkour and free running vaults for you to work on and learn. Remember to check out my beginning and intermediate ones first before trying to learn these ones, because it's all about progression to learn these safely. Let me know what future videos you'd like me to do with a list of 10, whether it's tricks or top 10, whatever you can think of, just let me know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe for more tutorials. Check out my shirts to support my channel, and as always, thank you for watching.